Good morning on Wednesday, October 5th. It's time for episode 117 of the 359 podcast with not Roger Chang, with
Not
Ben
Roger
Fox
Chang
Rubin
this time.
and Alfred Ng. Thanks for joining us, everybody. How are you guys doing today?
Okay, when was the last time I was even on the show? I don't remember how this works.
You were on the show before?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I used to be the co-host, but yeah, now we've rotated people in, which I'm very happy about. I get to go home and just sleep on the couch, I guess.
It's no longer a burden on your life.
Thank God. Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to be talking about the Google Pixel again. Alfred wrote a great story about Verizon exclusivity deal that they have in the US. We're also talking about a new perk with Amazon that's called Prime Reading. Wrote about that this morning. And the last story is about the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, because we can't do a podcast without mentioning those guys.
It's blown up.
It is
not
blown
anymore,
up.
but this story is.
Yeah, so like with every other show, send in your questions and comments and we'll get to them. Brian will get to them at the end of the podcast, 4 minutes from now. And I guess we should get started.
Let's do it. Here we go. Let's take it off in 3, 2.
Welcome to the 359, where we talk about the top tech news of the day, plus whatever crap we want to throw in. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
First, in a throwback to the olden times of the phone biz, Google is locking itself into an exclusivity partnership with Verizon for its new Pixel phones. So, Alfred, you wrote about this today. Does this make sense? Is this a good idea for Google?
Well, Google is actually getting the most out of this deal. They're going to be able to get their phones in stores, which the Nexus wasn't in. People can go in and, pick them up, feel them, test out that camera that Google has been bragging about. They're also getting, Verizon's customer support from it. They're getting distribution. They're getting all these deals that, Google can't provide. If I go to a Verizon store, I can trade in some of my old phones for $300 off.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to get that from Google itself. If you don't want to be tied down, you can still get it unlocked. You're just going to have to pay full price for it, or get it with Project Fi and pay about $27 a month plus Google's plan. So it's not a complete lockdown, kind of like how it was with the Motorola Droid, which was really the beginning of Google and Verizon's relationship. So Google is getting the most out of it. Verizon gets basically, look at this crazy, awesome phone, and we're the only ones that have it if you want it straight with a carrier with, a pretty good deal that comes with it too.
So Verizon also talks a lot about how its data network is one of the strongest there is out there. And with the Google Pixel, they have Google Assistant, so you have to ping the cloud a lot to actually get that voice assistant working. And it also has unlimited photo and video storage at like full resolution. Do you think that that's a reasonable talking point, or do you think that that's a good idea, or is that going to get people to actually buy the Pixel because it's going to go on the Verizon network and they're claiming that their data is the best?
I think that's why Google, specifically picked Verizon for this exclusive partnership. Any other network that's not as reliable as Verizon, Google Assistant might not seem that enticing to them, where it's, it's not working, something's messing up here. I think Google wanted its rollout of this very coveted AI program to, work right out of the box. And I think that's why it was kind of, hey, let's go with Verizon on this exclusively.
Yeah, we'll see if it does. Next, Amazon rolled out yet another new perk for Prime members called Prime Reading, which offers a rotating selection of about 1,000 ebooks, as well as magazines and comics. It's a smaller benefit than like Prime Day or the unlimited free shipping, but it's just another reason to try to get people to keep re-upping their Prime membership. Do you think that would do it for you, as far as like, okay, keep taking my money every year?
Well, I already have a Prime membership. I also buy ebooks a lot. I'm interested to see what the selection is. So far, I haven't really seen...
They have The Hobbit.
Yeah. I haven't really seen that much that's impressed me. I don't know. I think, most people already are buying the books that they want. And then if this is I don't really see this as being a perk that, I got to get on Amazon Prime now.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. And last, a Chicago-based casting agency has posted a call for current or former owners of the Note 7, the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, to share their experience with the Galaxy Note 7, the Note 7 recall, and their overall experience with Samsung. Why?
I feel like this ad campaign is going to blow up in their face.
That is a pretty good call there.
It's just, hey, look at all these devices that messed up. Please come tell your story about it. I don't see anything positive.
Could be really compelling. It could be really compelling. I'd like to see what it actually looks like. So anyway, if you want to read more about these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for listening.
Late to the game, but
thanks.
That was nice. I like that a lot.
I'm interested in this Amazon reading.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty dedicated Prime user, shipping videos, everything.
As am I.
And I'm already subscribed to Comixology, which they own
You get
now.
like comics and ebooks.
Netflix for comics.
Yeah.
Well, it's not Netflix for comics. It's just a digital platform for your subscriptions. So I'm opting into specific issues, but they have Comixology Unlimited out there now. And that's like Netflix, where you're paying like a flat fee for a month for an archive of available titles.
Yeah, I don't know how much they'll be, people will be using it for the books as much, but I mean, the comics and magazines part, that might be interesting.
Yeah, but even that is a rotating selection. And I think they were really promoting the ebooks portion of this, where it's about 1,000 ebooks.
Right.
And then in addition to that, we're going to have a rotating selection of some like Sports Illustrated, National Geographic, Traveler, I think. They were just in, and also a handful of comics. I don't know the comics off of the top of my head, but some of them were in the press release. So I wouldn't really get too excited about this specifically if you're like crazy about comic books, but I don't know, maybe if you find one of them in the rotation that you're really into, you could check it out. I would say that I kind of feel like this is a bit of a ploy on Amazon's part to get you to get Kindle Unlimited, which is a $10 a month service with over 1 million ebooks. So if you actually look at the Kindle app where you can see Prime Reading now, they constantly reference like Kindle Unlimited. They have like Kindle Unlimited branding all over the place. So it's kind of a reminder to Prime folks like, hey, like this thing exists. Maybe you want to use it.
And that's a decent enough incentive, though, especially for a power reader, somebody who's just constantly reading. And for those of us who have longer commutes in the morning, taking public transportation, this might be a really good program. I'm definitely interested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm curious as if to anyone in the chat is interested as well. Let us know if you think you might opt into that. What else did we talk about today? I'm zoned out.
Yeah.
I'm already checked out because I'm done after today for this week. Sorry, guys. I've got Comic-Con on the brain. I'm there tomorrow.
I mean, what I'm curious about is if anyone in the comments would actually appear in this advert for Samsung.
Oh, yeah.
All our, Note 7 owners out there who I've seen in the comments before, when we warned them, hey, if you have one with a defective battery, please return it. There were all these comments. No, I'm fine. I don't care. And then, I just want to see, like...
I just put it in a baking tray and everything. It's all good.
How many of them would actually appear in this advert? I'd be interested to see.
I would, if I was a Note 7 owner, I absolutely, and I was in the Chicagoland area, I would, because if you're chosen for it, you're paid like $600 or more. So you at least like get back the money for, I don't know, like the pants that they've burned off of you or whatever.
It's enough to buy a Pixel.
Yeah. So you can have them pay for your new phone that's not a Note 7.
This is not completely related, but did anybody see the latest Grand Theft Auto mod?
Oh, yeah.
Where they modded the grenades into Samsung Note 7s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So, yeah. Do we have any questions today?
Not really. People are talking about pricing and the Google Home and going back and forth about the Pixel.
Yeah.
I'm into the Pixel idea. That might be my next move when I need to upgrade again.
Are you gonna get it through Verizon though, or are you getting it unlocked?
I'm probably gonna do it unlocked because I'm AT&T.
Well,
not only that, but like they actually add some bloatware if you buy it directly through Verizon. Alfred, you mentioned that in your story. So
that was the biggest issue that I had with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It comes with Go90, My Verizon, and
Verizon messaging,
which is
I've never even tried Verizon messaging. I've been a Verizon customer since like I was in college, which was a very long time ago, apparently. So I didn't even know. What is Verizon messaging? Have you tried that? Is it any good?
I have it on this a company phone because I have a Galaxy for that CNET gave me. It's just like a whole cluster of things. I just use Google Hangout on it just to talk, and like Facebook Messenger, because one, none of my friends have my number on this anyway.
Oh yeah.
And then so it's just like all online stuff. But I just looked at it and like I had already been getting spam messages on it like the day. So I was not a fan of Verizon messaging. It's unfortunate that it is going to come with the Pixel though if you sign up with Verizon, which is the exclusive carrier. Just because the Pixel is supposed to be, and Google phones in general are supposed to be this pure Android experience free of bloatware. And now here's all these apps that are by definition bloatware. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but it has a headphone jack,
this is
which
true.
which I guess will get some people pretty happy about it. I don't
This
know.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm actually
definitely.
pretty impressed by it. I like want to get my hands on a Pixel.
I think the problem is that one of the last major phones to do an exclusivity deal was the Fire phone, I think with AT&T, and it completely flamed out. It did really, really poorly. So my expectations are not that high that this thing is going to really be a blockbuster. At least out of the gate, it looked pretty cool. It looked pretty good, but it's still got to go up against the Samsung Galaxy S7, the iPhone, and nobody even knows what the Pixel name is at this point. Like folks like us do, but it still has a long way to go to really get a lot of recognition in the market.
Yeah, Google today actually took out a huge ad blitz in newspapers to, I guess, kind of spread the word. If you look at the New York Times today, it's like a whole like cover, like 4-page press that like literally wraps around the Times.
Do you read the physical newspaper?
Oh no, I saw a tweet of it.
Oh, okay, good. Wow. I was gonna. You almost scared me. I'd be like, we need to send Alfred to the hospital.
Hell's wrong with this guy?
Hey, do we have any idea when some of the Google Home products are going to actually start coming to international markets, specifically India?
I was so focused on Pixel yesterday that I was not that focused on the Google Home. I had written about it in the past, but no, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
We
I
have
don't
a
even
really
know.
fantastically dedicated Indian audience, and they're a little bummed that they're not getting Chromecast Ultra and Google Home products right away. So
Yeah. I think the Pixel is going to be coming to India. The pre-orders start, if I remember correctly, October 13th.
13th or 14th, it looks like. By
Yeah.
some of the chatter going back and forth.
Yeah, but with the Google Home, I mean, if the Amazon Echo is any indication, the Echo existed only in the U.S. market for more than a year or a year and a half before they ported it over to the UK market. And they had to do a handful of different things like Alexa, spell color, and like color had to have a U in it in the UK market. So, as you can imagine, like bringing it to different international markets, there are all these additional nuances that you have to add into these assistants. I'm not saying Google can't do it. I just know that with the Echo, it did take a little bit of time. So
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea if case manufacturers are starting to work on the Pixel models, specifically like if OtterBox is going to make a case? I can't imagine they wouldn't.
I would hope so. I mean,
No, yeah, there's already cases out for it. Like that was part of the original leak.
Yeah.
When it happened, and one was from a case company, and then Verizon's offering these like live cases.
what is that?
It's kind of like interactive with your Pixel. So one of them has like a Google Earth kind of thing where like you put it on and it shows like it like sets a live wallpaper for you on your phone and all this stuff.
I hate those.
Yeah. So
It's just
another
so
reason
annoying.
exclusive deals are kind of
Yeah, they did show off a handful of like pretty cool looking cases yesterday, but I think a lot of them were directly through Google.
Yeah, right.
I imagine.
Yeah.
So
For now.
But yeah, there should be. I mean, if it takes off and it does well, yeah, you're going to see a ton of cases for this, and it looks a lot like the iPhone 6 and 6S and 7, frankly. So I don't see how it would be that difficult to wrap a case around it.
Do you think it really looks alike though? Like the whole back, it's like half
No,
colored.
not the back.
Yeah.
Not the back, but the general form of it is definitely very similar.
But like,
in
how many
style.
different forms can you really take on a smartphone?
I agree with you. I agree in that sense, but I think that I don't know too much about the Nexuses, but I feel like the Nexuses didn't look as much.
They
like
were
that
more
model.
square. They had like more like edges
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of like a round, like a circular kind of thing.
Yeah, I definitely like the circular look more.
Yeah.
But then again, I also have an iPhone, so.
Do you think Android's next update will have the same Google Now like the Pixel comes with?
What, the Nougat update?
I think so. Allegedly, I think we kind of talked about this. We kind of touched on it yesterday about if there's going to be any retroactive firmware updates for like the Nexus phones that will
I think
mirror
they'll do it
what's
for the
they're doing
most
Pixel.
recent Nexuses. I don't think they're going to go beyond that. But I think they're only going to, I think like other Android phones might be out of luck on
Yeah.
this one.
Are you guys aware of any heating issue with the 821 processor?
No.
Not to my
Is
knowledge.
that something that's already being rumored?
Somebody's asking about it in the chat. I have not heard anything either. So
I know with previous Qualcomm models, they had a lot of issues with overheating. I haven't heard, but that was while I was on the chip speed, so I was much more aware of when it was happening. But it turned into, a full-blown controversy, I believe, with the 810 or the 820. And they tried to move away from that processor as quickly as possible, even though it was in a bunch of flagship phones from last year. I haven't heard a single thing about the 821, but then again, I haven't been covering chips the way I used to.
Snickers Bar Jamal, that's a great name by the way, says he's mad that the Pixel isn't coming bundled with the Tango software, being that it's a flagship phone, and giving it to Lenovo Fab 2 Pro. I know about 3 of those words.
What do you know about the Tango software? It's times like these I wish Roger was here. He would probably be able to answer a lot of these questions a lot better. So he has a much
He's our
deeper,
guru.
Yeah, he has a much deeper knowledge on like every like phone ecosystem. So
Yeah.
one good thing is that what is it, through Verizon? This comes with the Daydream VR headset.
Yeah,
so.
if you pre-order it before the release date, you can get a free Daydream with it, which I'm excited to see too. I think it's like luxury Google Cardboard. So
I can live with that.
I'm looking forward to it. I think the controller thing's got a cool feature. I was really into that like space shooting game that they showed off. I don't know if you were. Yeah.
I was like furiously writing the Pixel story,
Yeah.
so I had to like jump off. Like maybe I should go back and like watch the rest of it, because for me the Google Home is like a really like fascinating concept. I think that right out of the gate it is really going to give the Echo a run for its money, and we'll see with the
sure.
Daydream too.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think about the Google Assistant voice? Some are criticizing it for being too robotic.
It's a machine. I don't understand why people always think like, oh, it needs to be like a human voice. You might disagree with me on this one. I think it's weird when like, it sounds like a human being. I'd rather it be robotic, to be honest.
So you know that it's not
The comfort zone
tricking
before it
you.
becomes
Yeah.
HAL 9000. Snickers Bar Jamal cleared it up. Tango is augmented reality. I didn't even know that.
Oh, thank you very much, Snickers Bar Jamal.
We'll keep an eye out for that for sure.
Yeah, it could potentially be something that they add in sometime later. Again, if Pixel is something that takes off, I would mention too that I talked about this a bit in my story, that there's a big potential frenemies problem that if the Pixel does in fact turn into a blockbuster phone, and I'm not saying that it will, then it turns into this complicated issue with LG and Samsung and HTC and all the different phone makers that use Android software. All of a sudden, they're out of luck with their primary, their OS provider.
Yeah, but what are they going to turn to?
Exactly. It turns into a complicated situation for them because there isn't another option out there.
Yeah.
Like it's not like iOS is all of a sudden going to be available.
Just make better hardware. That's it's a marketplace. There's competition.
Ooh, that's harsh. That's tough. But,
Like, oh,
okay,
no,
we're all big
you know.
boys here. I guess that's true.
Make a
but-
better OS.
Yeah. I mean, like, they have a right to complain, though, to Google to be like, look, you guys are stealing our market share. But I
How
guess
are they
that is a
stealing
valid...
it though? It's their own product and their own OS.
Well, again, I don't know that the Pixel is really going to take off. So
Yeah.
but it could create complications for Google if it did. I guess that's all I wanted to mention. But yeah, I mean,
I can understand that. Companies that are upset that this Google, who made their OS are now beating them
at
in
their
hardware.
own game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So let's close it out with one last compare and contrast. We want to know what the difference is between Google Assistant and Google Now, and then take that beyond and compare and contrast them to the performance of Siri or Cortana.
Okay, I can deal with that. Google Now, from what best I know about it, was kind of the precursor to the Google Assistant. I think that they're going to sunset Google Now, and it's going to turn into Google Assistant. You're going to be, if you're a Google person, you're going to see a lot more of Google Assistant in a lot more places. The Pixel is going to be the first phone that's built in with Google Assistant. They're also going to have Google Assistant in the Google Home, and they're probably going to find a lot more places to put it. So they're not going to focus as much on Google Now. They might use Google Now. I think it has like the different like cards, and you're probably still going to see those as far as like, you know, for like what the weather is or like the sports games and different things like that. For different voice assistants, I found that it's fairly subjective. It really depends like what you tend to use it for. I've been pretty disappointed with Siri for years, and I use her a lot. With Cortana, I haven't used that as often, but from what I've heard, it seems to be pretty good. A lot of it really has to do with voice recognition, and then in the back end, how good that voice recognition is with finding what it is that you actually want. So my expectation is that Google Assistant is going to be one of the top ones really, really quickly, because that's Google's bread and butter. I think the Amazon Alexa is also pretty good for what it does, but it still seems to be pretty limited compared to Google Assistant.
And Assistant will still respond to OK Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
I would think so. Yeah, but you could also, like, I think you press the home button.
Yeah, if you hold down on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I pretty much only used it to set timers.
Yeah.
The Pixel is getting a lot of criticism about its design. People pointing out the chin, and some people aren't too thrilled with the name of the phone, let alone the blandness of Google Assistant. And I just
What's wrong with the chin?
I don't.
Every phone has a chin these days.
They said this one's specifically too big, and I just had a thought. The next model for the Google Pixel phone, the Leno.
The Leno. Okay. That's
And
not a
then
bad idea.
The XL for extra Leno.
Yeah. Just lean into it. Just own it. Own
I
it
will
that you
say,
have
though,
a huge ass chin.
I am confused by the Pixel name. I do agree with the branding of it. I don't understand why they couldn't have just left it as Nexus. Just because I don't understand, like, there's always some kind of like symbology or something behind like Google's names for its products, right? And I don't understand. Like, they're gonna have to explain Pixel to me on this one. I don't get it. I know what a Pixel is. I don't understand how it fits into the branding on this new device. So
Fair enough. At the end of the
that's
day,
fair. Sure.
Google has a history right down to their actual namesake of being a little abstract with their titling.
That's fine. I like the name Pixel, you know.
And we've come to accept Google too, and no one knew what that was in the beginning. So.
Yeah, but it did have some sort of, like, as you said, like there was a definition
is it
behind
because it has a
or
good
it was
camera?
something. Maybe. We could argue for that.
That's probably the most logical.
That's the only way I can think
I'll
of it.
call Sergi
I still just think
after the show.
they pulled a name out of a hat that sounds hip.
It's part of the alphabet. That's like we didn't have something with a P.
Yeah.
That's entirely possible. Actually, that is definitely possible. All right, let's wrap it up.
Let's do it.
All right, if you liked what you saw or heard, check us out on CNET.com. The podcast is also available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, and of course on CNET.com. I'm going to say that again. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow.
See
Thanks,
you.
guys.